Blake Ashford's designer shoe connected with Max's ribs so hard the dog's yelp turned into a gurgling wheeze. Sarah Chen didn't think. She threw herself over her German Shepherd just as Blake kicked again. The crack was her radius bone, not the dog's spine. Victoria Ashford laughed from her table, still holding the cup she'd thrown. Hot coffee dripped from Max's fur and Sarah's hair, mixing with the blood from where her head hit the concrete. Nobody at Harbor Grill moved to help. Nobody ever did when the Ashfords were involved. Subscribe now and follow this story to the end. Comment your city below. I want to see how far this story travels. Now let's continue. Sarah couldn't breathe. Couldn't think past the white-hot pain radiating from her arm. Max was whimpering beneath her, his body trembling. "Get your filthy animal under control." Victoria's voice cut through the outdoor patio like a blade. "We're trying to have a civilized lunch." Sarah tried to speak, but only managed to gasp. Her right arm hung at an angle that made her stomach turn. "Did you hear my wife?" Blake crouched down, his breath reeking of expensive scotch. "Or are you as stupid as you look?" "I'm sorry." The words came out broken. "He only barked because he's a poorly trained mutt and you're a terrible owner." Blake grabbed her hair, yanking her head back. "Just like you're a terrible waitress. How hard is it to keep coffee in a cup?" "You stuck your foot out." Sarah's voice was barely a whisper. "When I walked past." The slap came fast enough to make her ears ring. "Are you calling my husband a liar?" Victoria stood now, her perfectly manicured hand still raised. "You spilled coffee on a $12,000 suit and you're blaming him?" Sarah looked around the patio. 20 people. 20 phones out, recording. 20 witnesses. Not one person stood up. "I need a hospital." Sarah's vision was blurring. "My arm." "You need to be fired." Blake pulled out his phone. "Jerry? Yeah, it's Blake Ashford. I'm at your little restaurant, and one of your employees just assaulted my wife and me, threw coffee on us, sicked her vicious dog on us when we complained." "That's not true." Sarah tried to stand, but her legs wouldn't cooperate. "Please, that's not—" "I'd hate to have to call the health inspector." Blake's smile didn't reach his eyes. "Be a shame if Harbor Grill failed its next inspection, or if that prime waterfront lease somehow didn't get renewed." The phone clicked off. Blake looked down at Sarah like she was something he'd scraped off his shoe. "You're done here. Jerry's smart enough to know which side his bread is buttered on." Max tried to stand, stumbled, collapsed back down. The kick had done more damage than Sarah first thought. "Now get your mongrel and get off this property before I call animal control and have him put down for attacking us." "He didn't attack anyone." The voice came from across the patio, deep, calm, absolutely certain. Everyone turned. The man standing at the patio entrance was tall, broad-shouldered, with the kind of stillness that came from being completely sure of yourself. His eyes were locked on Blake Ashford. "Who the hell are you?" Blake stood, chest puffing out. "Someone who watched you kick a dog and break a woman's arm because she accidentally spilled coffee on you after you deliberately tripped her." Victoria laughed. "Did you watch the same thing as everyone else? She attacked us. The dog went crazy. My husband was defending himself." The stranger pulled out his phone, tapped the screen, turned it around. Sarah saw herself on the video, walking carefully with a tray, saw Blake's foot shoot out just as she passed, saw the coffee spill, saw Max bark once, just once, saw Blake kick him, saw herself dive to protect her dog, saw Blake kick her, saw her arm bend wrong. That's what I watched. The stranger's voice never rose. "Want me to send this to the police? Or should we just post it online and let the internet decide what happened?" Blake's face went purple. You have no idea who you're messing with. Navy SEAL, retired as of 3 weeks ago, Marcus Rivera. And you're Blake Ashford, real estate developer, known for buying up low-income properties and forcing out residents. Your wife, Victoria, sits on the board of Sentinel Bay Memorial Hospital. You have a cousin on the police force and a reputation for making problems disappear. Marcus took a step forward. How am I doing so far? The patio had gone dead silent. That video is mine. Blake's voice shook with rage. You recorded us without permission. That's illegal. Actually, this is a public space, single-party consent state, and I'm the party that consented. Marcus knelt beside Sarah. Can you stand? I don't think so. Don't touch her. Blake moved forward. She's trespassing on private property after being terminated. You're both trespassing. Call the police then. Marcus didn't look up from examining Sarah's arm. Let's get their official report on record. This is definitely broken, by the way. You're going to need surgery. Sarah's throat tightened. I can't afford surgery. We'll figure it out. Marcus looked at Max. Your dog needs a vet. Now. I can't afford that either. I said we'll figure it out. Why? Sarah's eyes filled with tears. You don't even know me. Marcus was quiet for a moment. When he spoke, his voice was softer. I know what it's like to watch someone you love get hurt while you can't do anything about it. I'm not doing that again. Blake's phone rang. He answered, listened, and his smile turned vicious. That was Jerry. You're fired, effective immediately. You have 10 minutes to get your things and leave Harbor Grill property. If you're here in 11 minutes, you'll be arrested for trespassing. She needs an ambulance first. Marcus stood, putting himself between Sarah and the Ashfords. Then she should call one herself, from somewhere else. Victoria's voice was ice. We have rights. We have property. We have protection. What do you have? A video that proves nothing? And a death wish. I have training that makes me very good at protecting people who can't protect themselves. Marcus pulled out his phone again. And I have friends in the FBI who are very interested in human trafficking patterns in coastal real estate development. Victoria's smile froze. Blake recovered first. Are you threatening us? I'm stating facts. You buy properties. Residents disappear. New luxury developments go up. The FBI's Coastal Trafficking Task Force is always interested in patterns. Marcus tilted his head. Should I make that call? Or are you going to walk away and let me get this woman and her dog to a hospital? For a long moment, nobody moved. Then Victoria grabbed her purse. Come on, Blake. We have better things to do than deal with hired help and their bleeding heart saviors. Blake leaned close to Marcus. This isn't over. You just made an enemy you can't afford. I've made worse enemies in worse places. You're just a bully in an expensive suit. Marcus's voice never changed. Now walk away before I change my mind about posting that video. The Ashfords left. The other diners scattered like roaches when lights came on. Within 2 minutes, the patio was empty except for Sarah, Max, and Marcus. Why did you do that? Sarah asked. Because nobody else was going to. You don't understand what you just did. Sarah's voice cracked. They own this town. They'll destroy you. They can try. Marcus carefully lifted Max. The dog whined, but didn't snap. Where's your car? I don't have one. I walk to work. Then you're riding with me. Where's the nearest vet? I can't pay you back. I didn't ask you to. Marcus started walking. Are you coming, or are you going to sit here bleeding until Blake's cousin shows up to arrest you for trespassing? Sarah struggled to her feet, cradling her broken arm.
I have a daughter, Emma. She's 6. She's at special needs daycare until 3. If I don't pick her up, we'll pick her up after we get you and Max fixed.
Marcus glanced back. Where's the daycare?
Sunshine Academy, but they won't release her to a stranger.
Then you'll be there too, just with a cast instead of a broken arm. He waited for her to catch up. What's Emma's condition?
Autism. Nonverbal most of the time. She needs therapy 3 times a week. Speech, occupational, behavioral. It costs.
Sarah's voice broke.
It costs more than I make. I was working double shifts, saving every penny, and now I'm fired and I can't.
One problem at a time. Marcus's voice was gentle. Right now, we're getting you medical care. Then, we're getting your daughter. Then, we're figuring out the rest. Why are you helping me? Marcus was quiet until they reached his truck. He settled Max carefully in the back seat, then helped Sarah into the front. I had a partner, Apollo. German Shepherd, like Max. Military working dog. Best nose in the unit. He started the engine. 3 months ago, we were on patrol in Afghanistan. Apollo detected an IED. Started alerting. I saw it, but I hesitated. Second-guessed him because I was tired, and we'd had false alarms all week. Sarah waited. Apollo saved my life. Pushed me out of the way when the device detonated. Took the blast meant for me. Marcus's hands tightened on the wheel. 3 of my teammates died in that explosion. Apollo died in my arms. And the last thing I remember before the medevac arrived was thinking I should have trusted him. Should have listened when he was trying to protect me.
I'm sorry.
I came home 3 weeks ago. Went to visit my family in Portland. Drove through Sentinel Bay on the way back to San Diego. Stopped for coffee at Harbor Grill. He glanced at her. I saw Blake kick your dog, and something in my head just snapped. That could have been Apollo. That was Apollo. Every time I didn't listen fast enough, every time I put him in danger because I was too proud or too stupid to trust what he was telling me.
So you're helping me because you feel guilty about your dog?
I'm helping you because watching Blake Ashford hurt something innocent and helpless made me want to do what I do best. Marcus pulled into the vet clinic parking lot. Protect people who deserve protecting. The vet tech met them at the door, took one look at Max, and rushed him to the back. Another tech started to examine Sarah's arm, but she pushed them away.
The dog first, please. He's all Emma and I have.
The tech looked at Marcus, who nodded. Take care of the dog. I'll get her to the ER after. 30 minutes later, the vet emerged.
Max has 3 broken ribs and a lot of bruising.
No internal bleeding that I can detect, but I want to keep him overnight for observation. He's a tough guy.
How much?
Sarah asked. Normally, emergency treatment and overnight stay would be around $800. Sarah's face went white. But, the vet continued, I saw what Blake Ashford did on social media. Video's already gone viral. So today, treatment is free. And if you need a witness statement for police or a lawsuit, I'm happy to provide documentation of injuries consistent with being kicked by a full-grown man. Sarah started crying. Not quiet tears, deep, shaking sobs that came from somewhere she'd been holding locked for too long. Marcus put a hand on her shoulder. It's okay.
It's not okay.
Sarah couldn't stop shaking.
Nothing is okay. I just lost my job. My arm is broken. I can't afford Emma's therapy. I can't afford rent. I can't.
Sarah, Marcus's voice cut through the panic. Breathe. We're going to figure this out.
How? You don't even know me. Why would you?
Because 3 months ago, I had to watch my best friend die because I made a wrong call. I've been asking myself every day since then why I survived when better men didn't, when Apollo didn't. He met her eyes. Maybe this is why. Maybe I survived so I could be at that restaurant today. Maybe Apollo died saving me, so I could save someone else.
You can't save me.
Sarah wiped her eyes with her good hand.
The Ashfords will crush both of us. They always do.
Marcus smiled for the first time. It wasn't a happy smile. They've never tried to crush a Navy SEAL before. I think they're going to be surprised how hard I am to break. His phone buzzed. He checked it, and his expression darkened.
What is it?
Text from a number I don't recognize. He turned the screen toward her. The message was short. Stay out of Ashford business, or the waitress and her retard kid disappear. This is your only warning. Sarah felt the blood drain from her face.
Emma. Oh God, Emma. When does daycare end? 3 o'clock. It's 2:45.
Marcus was already moving toward the truck. Then we have 15 minutes. Let's go get your daughter. Marcus broke every speed limit getting to Sunshine Academy. Sarah called ahead 3 times. No answer. The 4th time, a young woman picked up.
Sunshine Academy, this is Brittany. It's Sarah Chen. I'm running late to pick up Emma. Please don't let anyone else. Oh, Sarah. Someone already came for her.
Sarah's phone slipped from her hand. Marcus caught it. Who came for her? His voice was steel.
I'm sorry, who is this?
Who took Emma Chen? Marcus pulled into the parking lot hard enough to make the tires scream.
A woman said she was Emma's aunt. She had Emma's stuffed rabbit. Emma went right to her, so we thought.
Marcus was already out of the truck. Sarah stumbled after him, cradling her broken arm, her face the color of ash. The daycare director met them at the door.
Miss Chen, I'm so sorry. The woman had proper identification. She knew Emma's favorite things. She said you'd been in an accident and asked her to pick Emma up. I don't have a sister.
Sarah's voice came out strangled.
I don't have any family. Who was she?
She signed in as Maria Santos. Marcus pulled out his phone, showed the director a photo. This woman? The director's face went pale.
Yes, that's her.
It was Victoria Ashford. Sarah's legs gave out. Marcus caught her before she hit the floor. How long ago?
20 minutes, maybe 25.
What was she driving?
Black Mercedes SUV. I didn't get the plate.
Marcus was already dialing. Rodriguez, I need a trace. Black Mercedes SUV, left Sunshine Academy in Sentinel Bay 15 to 25 minutes ago. Registered to Victoria or Blake Ashford. Kidnapping situation. Sarah grabbed his arm with her good hand.
They took my baby. They took Emma.
We'll get her back.
You don't understand.
Sarah was hyperventilating now.
Emma doesn't talk to strangers. She has meltdowns. If they try to force her to do anything she doesn't want, she'll hurt herself. She hits her head when she's scared. She bites herself.
Marcus crouched down to her level. Sarah, look at me. Look at me. She met his eyes. I have spent 10 years finding people who don't want to be found. I've tracked Taliban commanders through mountain ranges and cartel bosses through jungles. I will find your daughter. Do you believe me?
I don't know.
That's honest. But I need you to try to believe me anyway, because I can't do this if you fall apart. Emma needs you strong right now. Can you be strong? Sarah took a shaking breath.
What do I do?
You call the police. Report your daughter kidnapped. Give them Victoria Ashford's name. Make it official.
Blake's cousin is the police chief. He won't.
He'll have to. Too many witnesses here. Too many cameras. Call 911 and let them be the ones who decide not to help. When they don't, we have proof they're obstructing justice. Sarah pulled out her phone with trembling fingers and dialed. Marcus stepped outside. His phone was already ringing. "Talk to me, Rodriguez." "Found the vehicle. It's heading north on Highway 101. I'm tracking it through traffic cameras." "Where's it going?" "Looks like Ashford Development Headquarters. It's a converted cannery on the north end of town." "Tell me about the building." 3 stories, offices on the first 2 floors. Top floor is residential. Blake and Victoria have a penthouse up there. Security is tight, cameras everywhere, armed guards at the entrance." "How many guards?" "At least 4 on rotation, maybe more inside." Marcus's jaw tightened. "I need blueprints." "Already pulling them. Give me 10 minutes." "We don't have 10 minutes." "Then you're going in blind." "Won't be the first time." Sarah came outside. Her face was set now. Shock had burned away into something harder. "They said they'd send someone to take a statement. They said kidnapping accusations are serious and I shouldn't make false reports." "They said what?" "The dispatcher asked if Emma might have just gone with a family friend. If maybe I was overreacting because I was injured and upset." Sarah's voice was flat. "She said the Ashfords are pillars of the community, and I should be very careful about making accusations I can't prove." Marcus turned back to his phone. "Rodriguez, change of plans. I need Chen and Williams on site. Full tactical gear. This is going hot." "Marcus, you're not active duty anymore. If you go in there with weapons..." "They kidnapped a 6-year-old autistic girl to intimidate her mother into silence about being assaulted. I'm not waiting for a police force that's on the Ashford payroll to maybe do something." His voice dropped. "Are you with me or not?" A pause. Then, "Chen and Williams are 40 minutes out. I can be there in 30. Make it 20. Marcus hung up and looked at Sarah. "I need you to trust me." "I don't have a choice." "Yes, you do. You can wait for the police. You can hope they do the right thing. You can try to handle this through official channels." "And what will you do?" "I'll get your daughter back." He met her eyes. "But my way isn't legal. My way will make things worse with the Ashfords. My way might get me arrested." "Will it get Emma back safe?" "Yes." "Then that's the only thing that matters." Sarah straightened up. "What do you need from me?" "I need you to go to the hospital, get your arm set, create a paper trail of your injuries, make sure there's official documentation that Blake Ashford broke your arm." "I'm not leaving while Emma is..." "You can't come with me. You have a broken arm and you'll be a liability in a tactical situation." His voice softened. "But more than that, I need you to be somewhere public and visible when I bring Emma out. I need witnesses to see that you were at the hospital getting treatment while someone else retrieved your daughter. Do you understand?" "You're giving me an alibi." "I'm making sure the Ashfords can't retaliate against you for what I'm about to do." Sarah's phone rang. Unknown number. She answered on speaker. Victoria Ashford's voice was honey-sweet. "Sarah, dear, I hope you're not worried about Emma." "Where is she? What did you do to her?" "Nothing at all. She's perfectly safe, having cookies in my kitchen. Such a sweet child. Doesn't say much, does she?" "Let me talk to her." "I'm afraid she's a bit busy right now, playing with some toys we bought for her. It's amazing what you can get a child to do with the right incentives." Marcus put his hand on Sarah's shoulder, squeezed once. "Stay calm." "What do you want?" Sarah asked. "I want you to understand something. You made a mistake today. You got a stranger involved in family business. You let him threaten my husband and me. You let him record us without permission. Those were very poor choices." "Blake broke my arm." "That's not how the security footage will show it. See, our cameras at Harbor Grill malfunctioned during lunch. Such a shame. But they started working again just in time to record you attacking my husband with a coffee pot while your vicious dog tried to bite him. We have very clear footage of that." "That's not true."
It's what our cameras show. It's what 20 people will testify they saw. It's what the police report will say. Victoria's voice hardened. Your word against ours, dear. How do you think that ends? Sarah looked at Marcus. He shook his head. Don't engage. Here's what's going to happen, Victoria continued. You're going to withdraw any complaints. You're going to sign a statement saying you attacked us. You're going to apologize publicly.
And you're going to make your Navy SEAL friend delete that video and disappear. And if I don't? Then Emma stays with us. We have excellent lawyers. By tomorrow morning, we'll have emergency custody based on your violent behavior and inability to provide adequate care. By next week, we'll have full custody. By next month, Emma will be in a very nice care facility for special needs children. The kind where parents aren't allowed unsupervised visits. Sarah made a sound like she'd been punched. You can't do that. I sit on the board of the largest hospital in 3 counties. My husband has the mayor, the police chief, and half the city council in his pocket. I can do whatever I want. Victoria paused. You have 2 hours to comply. After that, you'll never see your daughter again. The line went dead. Sarah turned to Marcus. They're going to take her. They're going to take my baby, and there's nothing I can do. Yes, there is. Marcus's voice was calm. You're going to go to the hospital. You're going to tell the intake nurse exactly what happened. You're going to let them document your injuries. You're going to create a record. That won't stop them. No, but I will. How? The Ashfords think they're untouchable because they've never faced real consequences. They think money and connections make them invincible. Marcus pulled out his phone. They've never dealt with someone who doesn't care about their money, who doesn't fear their connections, who has training specifically designed to neutralize people who think they're above the law. You're going to break in. I prefer the term tactical retrieval of unlawfully detained personnel. You could go to prison. I've been in worse places. He opened his truck door. Rodriguez will meet you at the hospital. He'll make sure you're safe while I'm gone. Don't talk to police without him present. Don't sign anything. Don't agree to anything. Just get your arm fixed and wait. Marcus, Sarah's voice broke. Please bring her back. I will. That's a promise. He paused. Does Emma have any triggers I should know about? Things that scare her or set her off? Loud noises, sudden movements, strangers touching her without warning. Sarah wiped her eyes. But she loves dogs. If you tell her you're Max's friend, she might trust you. Max's friend. Got it. Marcus started the engine. One more thing. When I bring Emma out, she might be scared. Might not want to come with me at first. I need your permission to pick her up and carry her if necessary. You have it. Just get her away from those people. Marcus drove toward Ashford Development, his phone on speaker. Rodriguez was feeding him information in real time. Chen and Williams are 15 minutes out. Building blueprints show ventilation access on the east side. Guards rotate every 4 hours. Next shift change is at 6. It's 3:30 now. I'm not waiting 2.5 hours. Then you're going in with guards alert and active. I've done worse. You've also had backup before, a team, air support, exit strategy. My exit strategy is walking out the front door with a 6-year-old girl. Rodriguez was quiet for a moment. You know this is insane, right? Insanity is letting rich people kidnap children because they think money makes them immune to justice. Marcus pulled into a parking lot 2 blocks from Ashford Development. I'm going in. Keep Chen and Williams on standby in case things go sideways. They're already sideways, brother. Then I'll make them worse. Marcus approached the building from the east side, just like Rodriguez suggested. The ventilation access was exactly where the blueprints showed. He'd just started examining the grate when his phone buzzed. It was a video message from Victoria. He opened it. Emma was sitting in a large office, surrounded by expensive toys she wasn't touching. She was rocking back and forth, hands over her ears. Victoria's voice came from off-camera. "Say hi to Mommy, Emma." Emma didn't respond. "I said say hi." Victoria's hand entered the frame, reaching for Emma. The little girl screamed, a raw, terrified sound that made Marcus's blood run cold. She started hitting her head with both fists. Victoria laughed. "Oh dear, she's having one of her episodes. I suppose we'll need to call the psychiatric ward. They're very good at handling children who can't control themselves." The video ended. Marcus's hands were shaking, not with fear, with rage. He yanked the ventilation grate off with his bare hands. The metal shrieked. He didn't care about stealth anymore. He was going to get that little girl out, and God help anyone who tried to stop him. The ventilation shaft was tight. Marcus pulled himself through, following the blueprint path Rodriguez had sent. Voices echoed through the metal ducts. "Boss wants the kid kept quiet. Give her something." "She's 6 years old. I'm not drugging a kid." "Then gag her, whatever. Just shut her up before the next meeting." Marcus moved faster. The duct opened into a storage room. He dropped down, silent as a shadow. The door was unlocked. He cracked it open. 2 guards stood outside the office where Emma was being held, both armed, both facing the wrong direction. Marcus didn't hesitate. He'd trained for this scenario 1,000 times. 2 targets, 5 seconds, no witnesses. He moved. The first guard went down without a sound, chokehold until unconscious. The second one started to turn. Marcus's elbow caught him in the temple. He crumpled. Marcus pushed open the office door. Emma was alone, still rocking, still hitting herself. There was a bruise forming on her forehead. "Emma?" His voice was soft. "I'm Marcus. I'm Max's friend." The little girl's hands stilled. She looked at him with eyes exactly like her mother's. "Max sent me to bring you home. He's at the doctor getting better. He wants to see you." Emma's lip trembled. "Your mom is waiting. She's hurt and she needs you. Can you come with me?" Emma stared at him for a long moment. Then she stood up and walked over. She took his hand without a word. Marcus lifted her gently. "Hold on tight. We're leaving now." He carried her out of the office just as Victoria appeared in the hallway. "Put her down." "No." "I'll call security. I'll have you arrested." "Your security is unconscious in the hallway. Your guards won't wake up for at least 20 minutes. And if you call the police, I'll send them the video you just sent me of you terrorizing a 6-year-old child." Victoria's face twisted. "You don't know what you're doing. Blake will destroy you. We'll destroy both of you. That waitress will lose everything. Her daughter, her freedom, her life." "See, that's where you're wrong." Marcus shifted Emma's weight. She buried her face in his shoulder. "Sarah already lost everything when you decided she was beneath you. When you threw coffee on her and let your husband break her bones. When you stole her child. She's nothing. A waitress. A nobody. She's a mother protecting her daughter. That makes her more important than you'll ever be." He started walking toward the stairs. "Stay away from Sarah Chen. Stay away from Emma. If you come near them again, that video of you abusing a disabled child goes to every news station in Oregon. You wouldn't dare." Marcus stopped, turned. "I've killed men for doing less than what you did to that little girl. Posting a video is nothing."
He left Victoria standing in the hallway and walked out the front door with Emma in his arms. Chen and Williams were waiting in a vehicle outside. They pulled up as Marcus emerged. "Hospital," Marcus said. "Now." Emma didn't speak the entire drive. She just held onto Marcus's shirt with both hands and breathed in short, panicked gasps.
"You're safe," he kept saying. "I've got you. You're safe now." When they reached the hospital, Sarah was waiting outside. She saw Emma and started running, cast and all.
"Baby! Oh God, baby!"
Emma finally made a sound, a cry that came from somewhere deep. She reached for her mother. Marcus handed her over carefully. Sarah collapsed to her knees, holding Emma, checking her for injuries, crying so hard she couldn't speak. Emma touched her mother's face. Then she said something she hadn't said in 6 months.
"Mama."
Sarah looked at Marcus over her daughter's head.
"Thank you. Thank you. Thank you."
Marcus just nodded. He was watching the road, waiting for the Ashfords to send police, to send lawyers, to send someone to take Emma back. But no one came. Victoria Ashford knew when she'd lost, at least for today. Rodriguez appeared at Marcus's elbow. "You just committed breaking and entering, assault, and kidnapping. I rescued a kidnapped child." That's not how the Ashfords will spin it. Then they'll have to explain why they took her in the first place. Marcus pulled out his phone. And they'll have to explain this. He played the video Victoria had sent, Emma screaming, Victoria laughing. Rodriguez watched it twice. When he spoke, his voice was flat. "Send that to me, right now." "Why?" "Because I have a friend at the FBI who specializes in child endangerment cases. She'll want to see this."
"Will she do anything about it?"
"If she's half the person I think she is, yeah, she'll do something." Rodriguez looked at Sarah and Emma. "But it won't be fast. The Ashfords have lawyers, they have money, they have connections. This could take months, maybe years."
"Then we'll fight for months, years, whatever it takes."
Sarah stood up, still holding Emma.
"I can't fight them. I don't have money for lawyers. I don't have anything."
"You have me," Marcus said. "And you have Rodriguez, and Chen, and Williams, and you have the truth. The truth doesn't matter when the other side can afford to bury it." "It matters," Marcus insisted. "It has to matter." But watching Sarah's face, he wondered if he was lying. If the truth mattered at all when money could rewrite it. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. He answered. Blake Ashford's voice was pure venom. "You just made the biggest mistake of your life." "Funny. That's exactly what your wife said. Enjoy your freedom while you have it. By tomorrow there will be warrants for your arrest. Kidnapping, assault, breaking and entering. You'll spend the next 20 years in prison. Then I guess you better have good lawyers. Because I'm countersuing for Emma's kidnapping, for Sarah's assault, and for everything else you've done." Marcus's voice was ice. "And unlike you, I don't need money to destroy someone. I just need the truth. The truth is whatever I say it is." The line went dead. Marcus looked at Sarah. "We need to leave Sentinel Bay, tonight." "Where would we go?" "Somewhere the Ashfords can't reach. Somewhere their money doesn't matter."
"There's no such place."
"Yes, there is." Marcus pulled out his phone. "I know people, federal people, people who owe me favors, people who can protect you while we build a case." Sarah was shaking her head.
"I can't run. I can't uproot Emma. She needs routine. She needs stability. She needs
to be alive." Marcus's voice was harsh. "Victoria Ashford just sent me a video of herself terrorizing your daughter. Blake Ashford just threatened to have me arrested. These people don't make empty threats. They follow through. If we stay here, they'll take Emma. They'll make it legal. They'll make it permanent.
So what do I do? Run forever?
No. You run long enough to fight back. Emma tugged on Sarah's sleeve. She pointed at Marcus. Then she said one word.
Safe.
Sarah's eyes filled with tears.
Okay. Okay, we'll go.
Marcus nodded once. Pack whatever you can carry. We leave in 2 hours. But he didn't tell Sarah what he'd already figured out. Running wouldn't be enough. Not with people like the Ashfords. Money always caught up eventually. Connections always found you. If they wanted to truly be free, they wouldn't just need to run. They'd need to fight. And fighting the Ashfords meant exposing them, destroying them, taking away the very things that made them powerful. Marcus had done it before, in war zones, in hostile territory, against enemies with more weapons and more training. But he'd never done it against enemies who could rewrite the law itself. He looked at Emma, clinging to her mother, at Sarah, broken and terrified but still standing. He'd made a promise. He'd get them through this. He just hoped it was a promise he could keep. They didn't have 2 hours. They had 40 minutes. Rodriguez's phone rang while Sarah was throwing clothes into a garbage bag. He answered, listened, and his face went gray. Warrants just got issued. Breaking and entering, kidnapping, assault on security personnel. Judge signed them 20 minutes ago. Marcus didn't even look up from packing Emma's medication. Which judge? Hartley. Blake's golf buddy. Same one. Rodriguez grabbed his keys. We need to move, now. They'll have units here in 10 minutes, maybe less. Sarah froze.
I don't have Emma's therapy schedule, her sensory tools, her weighted blanket. She can't sleep without...
She can't sleep in foster care either. Marcus's voice was gentle but firm. Grab what you can. We leave in 5 minutes. Emma was sitting on the floor, lining up her toy cars in perfect rows. She didn't look up when Sarah knelt beside her.
Baby, we have to go on a trip. Right now.
Emma kept lining up cars.
Emma, please. We have to leave.
The little girl's hands moved faster, more cars, straighter lines. Marcus crouched down next to them. Emma, Max is waiting. He's lonely without you. Emma's hands stilled. He's at a special place where dogs go to get better. But he told me he won't eat unless you come see him. He only trusts you. Emma looked at Marcus, then at her mother, then back at her cars. She stood up, leaving the toys scattered, and took Sarah's hand. They were in Rodriguez's SUV 3 minutes later. Chen was driving. Williams rode shotgun with a rifle across his lap that made Sarah's stomach turn. Is that necessary? Yes. Williams didn't look back. The Ashfords have private security, ex-military. They're not going to let you disappear quietly. Where are we going? Safe house in Portland, Rodriguez said. Friend of mine from the bureau. She's expecting us. Marcus's phone rang. He looked at the screen and his jaw tightened. It's the vet. He answered on speaker. Dr. Morrison? Mr. Rivera, I'm calling about Max. I'm afraid there's been a complication. Sarah's hand found Marcus's arm. What kind of complication? Someone came by an hour ago, said they were from animal control, had paperwork saying Max was involved in an attack and needed to be seized pending investigation. You didn't give them my dog? Sarah's voice rose. Please tell me you didn't. I didn't. I asked to see their identification and they left. But Mr. Rivera, they'll be back. With real police this time. With a real court order. I can't protect him forever. Marcus was already typing on his phone.
Can you keep him one more day? I can try, but if they come back with proper documentation, they won't. Not after tonight. Marcus hung up and looked at Rodriguez. They're going after Max, using him as leverage. Then we need leverage of our own. Like what? We have nothing. They have judges, police, lawyers. We have this. Rodriguez pulled out his laptop. I've been digging into the Ashfords' real estate dealings, the properties they've acquired over the past 5 years. Want to know what I found? Sarah leaned forward. What?
47 residential buildings purchased at below market value, 73 families displaced. Every single one of those buildings now sits empty or has been demolished for luxury development. That's not illegal, Williams said. Scummy, but not illegal. No, but this is. Rodriguez turned the screen around. 18 of those families reported harassment before they sold. Threats, break-ins. 2 of the buildings had suspicious fires, and in every case, the families sold for a fraction of what the property was worth. That's a pattern, Marcus said, but it's not proof. It gets better. I cross-referenced the displaced families with missing persons reports. Rodriguez pulled up another screen. 11 people from those buildings disappeared within 6 months of selling. No forwarding address, no contact with family. Just gone. Sarah felt cold.
You think they killed them?
I think they made them disappear. There's a difference. Rodriguez closed the laptop. But I can't prove it without witnesses. People who saw what happened. People who are willing to talk.
Nobody will talk, Sarah said. I've lived in Sentinel Bay for 6 years. Everyone knows what the Ashfords are. Nobody says anything because they're terrified.
Then we find someone who's more angry than scared. Marcus's phone rang again. Different number. He answered. Marcus Rivera? Who's asking?
My name is Maria Santos. I'm a nurse at Sentinel Bay Memorial. I saw what happened at Harbor Grill. I saw the video.
Marcus put the call on speaker. What do you want, Ms. Santos?
I want to help Sarah Chen. She doesn't know me, but I know her.
Maria's voice was shaking.
I worked with her 3 years ago. I was there the night she lost her license.
Sarah went rigid.
Who is this? Maria. I was on shift when Cameron Ashford overdosed. Victoria's nephew. Do you remember? I remember.
Sarah's voice was barely a whisper.
They blamed you. Said you gave him the wrong medication, but that was a lie.
Maria was crying now.
He stole fentanyl from the pharmacy. Injected it in the hospital bathroom. By the time he collapsed, it was too late. You tried to save him. You did everything right. I know I did everything right.
Sarah's hands were shaking.
But the hospital board said otherwise. They said I was negligent. They revoked my license. I lost everything. Because Victoria Ashford sits on that board. Because Cameron was her favorite nephew. Because she needed someone to blame, and you were convenient.
Maria took a breath.
I kept the original toxicology report. The one that shows Cameron had enough fentanyl in his system to kill 3 people. The one that proves you couldn't have saved him even if you'd been standing right there when he injected.
Marcus leaned forward. You've had this evidence for 3 years?
I was scared.
Victoria threatened everyone on staff that night. Said if anyone talked, she'd destroy them, destroy their careers, their families.
I have a daughter. I couldn't risk.
But you're risking it now, Rodriguez interrupted.
Why? Because I saw that video of Blake Ashford breaking Sarah's arm, of him kicking her dog while she tried to protect it. And I realized I've been protecting monsters.
Maria's voice hardened.
I'm done being scared. I want to help.
Sarah was crying.
You have proof? Real proof that I didn't kill that boy? Hospital records, original tox screen, security footage from the pharmacy showing Cameron stealing the drugs. I kept copies of everything. Maria paused. I can get it to you, but you need to know something else. What? Cameron wasn't the first Ashford family member to overdose at that hospital. He was the fourth in 2 years. Always fentanyl. Always covered up. Always blamed on someone else. Marcus and Rodriguez exchanged glances.
4 overdoses, Marcus said slowly. Same drug, same family. That's not addiction. That's a pattern. What are you thinking? Williams asked. I'm thinking the Ashfords aren't just real estate developers. Marcus pulled up a map on his phone. Rodriguez, where are those empty buildings concentrated? North end of town, near the docks. And what's at the docks? Commercial fishing, import-export businesses, storage facilities. Rodriguez went still. Shipping containers.
Perfect place to move product, Chen said from the driver's seat. Drugs come in through maritime routes, get distributed through the city. Money gets laundered through real estate deals. That's a big accusation, Sarah said. You're saying the Ashfords are drug traffickers? I'm saying 4 family members overdosing on the same pharmaceutical-grade narcotic is statistically impossible unless someone in the family has access to large quantities. Marcus looked at Maria's number on his phone. Ms. Santos, were the other 3 overdoses also covered up by the hospital board? Yes. Victoria made sure of it every time. And the victims, are they still alive? 2 are dead. 1 is in a long-term care facility. Brain damage from oxygen deprivation. What about the 4th? Maria hesitated. That was Victoria's daughter, Stephanie. She's alive, but she's in a psychiatric facility in Seattle. Voluntary commitment after the overdose. She's been there for 18 months. Can we talk to her? I don't know. The facility is private, very exclusive. The kind of place where families send members they want hidden. Marcus's mind was racing. A daughter who knows her family's secrets, who might be willing to talk if she knew her mother just kidnapped a child. You want to use her, Sarah said. You want to manipulate someone who's mentally ill into testifying against her own family. I want to give her a choice. Stay silent and let her family keep hurting people, or speak up and stop them. Marcus looked at Sarah. But I won't do it without your permission. This is your fight, too. Emma tugged on Sarah's sleeve. She pointed out the window at a passing dog, then at Sarah's phone. She wants to call Max, Sarah translated. She wants to make sure he's okay. Marcus dialed the vet on speaker again. Dr. Morrison, can you put Max near the phone? A moment later, they heard a dog's whine through the speaker. Emma's face lit up. She made a soft clicking sound with her tongue. Max whined again, louder. Good boy, Emma whispered, her second words of the day. Sarah was openly crying now. We have to get him back. We have to get our life back. Then we fight, Marcus said. We find Stephanie Ashford. We get her testimony. We combine it with Maria's evidence. We expose everything the Ashfords have done. Rodriguez was shaking his head. Even with all of that, it might not be enough. They have money. They have lawyers. They can tie this up in court for years. Not if we give it to the FBI. Marcus pulled up a contact on his phone. I know someone. Special Agent Kate Morrison. She runs the Coastal Trafficking Task Force. If we can prove the Ashfords are moving drugs through their properties, she'll get federal warrants, the kind money can't block. You're talking about taking on one of the most powerful families in Oregon, Williams said. With what? Some hospital records and a theory about drug trafficking? We're talking about saving Sarah's life and Emma's future.
Marcus's voice was steel. And yeah, maybe I'm also talking about making sure Blake and Victoria Ashford face consequences for once in their entitled lives. Chen pulled into an underground garage. We're here, Portland's safe house. Let's get inside before we plan the revolution. The safe house was a converted loft, sparse furniture, reinforced door. Windows that looked out onto fire escapes and alleyways. Rodriguez's FBI contact met them at the door. She was 50, gray-haired, with eyes that had seen too much. I'm Agent Kate Morrison. You must be Sarah and Emma. Emma hid behind her mother. It's okay, baby. Sarah stroked her daughter's hair. We're safe here. For now, Kate said. But Marcus, we need to talk. Privately. They stepped into the kitchen. Through the doorway, Sarah could see them having an intense conversation. Kate was shaking her head. Marcus was insisting on something. Finally, Kate returned. Ms. Chen, Marcus tells me you were a nurse. I was? And you lost your license after being blamed for a patient's death. Yes. A patient who was Victoria Ashford's nephew. Sarah nodded. Kate pulled out a file. 3 months ago, my task force started investigating suspicious shipping activity at Sentinel Bay docks. Containers coming in from Mexico, manifests that don't match contents. We suspected drugs, but couldn't get probable cause for a search warrant. What does this have to do with Sarah? Rodriguez asked. Everything. Because those containers are being received by companies owned by Ashford Development. And when we tried to investigate, suddenly our case files went missing. Evidence disappeared. Witnesses stopped cooperating. Kate's jaw tightened. Someone with serious connections shut us down. Victoria Ashford sits on the hospital board, Marcus said. How many federal judges has that hospital treated? How many prosecutors? How many politicians? Enough. Kate looked at Sarah. If we can prove the Ashfords covered up your case, that they used their hospital connections to obstruct justice, we can reopen our investigation. We can get warrants. I don't understand, Sarah said. How does my nursing license help you catch drug traffickers? Because it establishes a pattern of corruption, of using institutional power to hide crimes, of making people disappear when they become inconvenient. Kate sat down across from Sarah. We need you to testify about what happened the night Cameron Ashford died. We need Maria Santos to produce those hospital records. And we need to find Stephanie Ashford and get her to talk about her family's business. And if we do all that, you'll arrest them? If you do all that, I'll bury them so deep they'll never see daylight again. Sarah looked at Emma, who was arranging her toy cars in careful rows on the floor. What happens to my daughter if I testify? If I make myself a target? Witness protection, Kate said. New names, new city, federal marshals to keep you safe. For how long? As long as it takes. Sarah closed her eyes. I can't uproot her again. She needs stability, routine. She's autistic and every change is traumatic for her. Emma needs her mother alive more than she needs routine, Marcus said quietly. And right now, the Ashfords won't stop until they've destroyed you completely. Unless we destroy them first. How long would a trial take? Months, maybe longer. Kate's face was sympathetic. I won't lie to you. This won't be easy. The Ashfords will fight back. They'll try to discredit you. They'll dig up every mistake you've ever made and present it as evidence that you're unreliable. I've made a lot of mistakes. So have they. The difference is, yours were human. Theirs were criminal. Sarah's phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. Then Emma looked up at the sound and Sarah's hand moved automatically. Hello? Sarah Chen? A man's voice, older, tired. Who is this?
My name is James Hartley. I'm a judge in Sentinel Bay. Marcus grabbed the phone, put it on speaker. This is Marcus Rivera. What do you want, Judge? I want to warn you. Blake Ashford came to my home tonight. He brought his lawyers and his checkbook. He wants me to issue custody orders for Emma Chen based on Sarah's alleged violent behavior and inability to provide care. Sarah's blood went cold. Are you going to do it? A long pause. I don't know. That's honest, Marcus said. I'm calling because I need you to understand something. Blake Ashford owns half this town. He owns the mayor. He owns the police chief. He owns me. Hartley's voice cracked. 10 years ago, my daughter needed experimental treatment for cancer. Treatment insurance wouldn't cover. Blake paid for it. All of it. Saved her life. So you owe him, Sarah whispered. I owe him everything. And he's calling in that debt. Hartley took a shaky breath. But I saw that video of him kicking your dog, of him breaking your arm. And I saw the other video, the one of Victoria with Emma. How did you see that? Blake showed it to me. Wanted to prove Emma was fine, that Victoria was just trying to calm her down. Hartley's voice hardened. But I've been a judge for 30 years. I know what child abuse looks like, and what Victoria did to that little girl was abuse. Then don't give them custody, Sarah begged. Please. If I refuse, Blake will destroy me. He'll expose every favor I've ever done for him, every corner I've cut, every time I've looked the other way. I'll lose my judgeship, my pension, my freedom. So you're choosing yourself over a 6-year-old child. I'm choosing my daughter over yours. My daughter who's alive because Blake Ashford saved her. Hartley was crying now. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But I have 48 hours to issue the custody order, or Blake will make sure my daughter's medical history becomes public. That every hospital in Oregon knows she was treated with experimental drugs. That her cancer could come back, and no one will touch her because of the liability. The line went dead. Sarah looked at Marcus. We have 48 hours before they can legally take Emma. Then we have 48 hours to take them down first. Marcus turned to Kate. How fast can you move on this? If I have solid evidence, I can get warrants by tomorrow morning. Then we get that evidence tonight. Marcus was already dialing. Maria, it's Marcus Rivera. I need those hospital records now. Can you get them? I'm at the hospital now. I can scan them and send them within an hour. Do it. Send everything to this number. He rattled off Kate's contact. And Maria, after you send those files, pack a bag. The Ashfords are going to know it was you. I know. I'm ready. Marcus hung up and dialed another number. Williams, I need you to take a drive to Seattle. There's a psychiatric facility called Serenity Pines. Find out if Stephanie Ashford is willing to talk. On it. Rodriguez was already typing. I'm pulling property records, shipping manifests, anything that connects Ashford Development to the docks. Kate stood up. I'll call my team. Start preparing warrant applications. But I need something more than hospital records and property records. I need direct evidence of drug trafficking. Marcus looked at Sarah. Where would Blake keep his business records? I don't know. I'm a waitress. I don't know anything about his business. You worked at Harbor Grill. The restaurant is right on the waterfront. Did Blake ever have meetings there? Sarah thought back. Tuesday nights. He'd reserve the back room. No waitstaff allowed except Jerry, the owner. They'd meet for hours. Who came to these meetings? Different people. Men in suits. Some looked like businessmen, some looked like... Sarah stopped. Like what? Like the kind of men you don't want to meet in a dark alley.
Marcus and Kate exchanged glances.
That's where he's running his operation, Kate said. From the restaurant. Neutral ground. Public enough to seem legitimate, private enough to do business. Harbor Grill has security cameras, Sarah said.
In the back room. Jerry installed them after a robbery 2 years ago. Can we access those cameras? Jerry stores the footage on a server in his office, keeps it for 90 days before deleting. Marcus stood up. Then we go back to Sentinel Bay tonight. We get that footage before Blake realizes it exists. That's insane, Rodriguez said. There are warrants out for your arrest. The second you step foot in that town, you're going to jail.
Not if I'm fast enough.
Sarah stood up too.
I'm coming with you.
Absolutely not.
It's my life the Ashfords destroyed. My daughter they tried to take. My dog they're threatening.
Sarah's voice was steel.
I'm not sitting in a safe house while you risk everything. I'm coming.
Emma looked up from her cars. She walked over to Sarah and took her hand. Then she took Marcus's hand with her other one.
Together,
the little girl whispered. It was her third word of the day, and it broke Sarah's heart and rebuilt it at the same time.
Together,
Sarah repeated.
We do this together, or not at all.
Marcus looked at Emma's small hand in his, at Sarah's determined face, at the makeshift family that had formed in the worst possible circumstances. Together, he agreed. Kate shook her head. You're all going to end up in jail. Then we'll be in good company. They left for Sentinel Bay an hour later, racing against a 48-hour deadline and the full weight of the Ashford empire. Sarah held Emma in the back seat, whispering promises she hoped she could keep. Marcus drove with his jaw set and his hands steady, planning an infiltration that could cost him everything. And somewhere in Sentinel Bay, Blake and Victoria Ashford were celebrating their victory, certain that money and power had won again. They had no idea what was coming. Harbor Grill was dark when they arrived, 2 in the morning. The parking lot empty except for Jerry's truck in the back. Marcus killed the headlights 3 blocks away. He's still here. Jerry always closes on Tuesdays, Sarah said. Counts the register, does inventory. He'll be in his office. Where's the server room? Basement, through the kitchen. Rodriguez checked his phone. Maria sent the hospital files 20 minutes ago. Kate's team is already reviewing them. She says it's enough for conspiracy to obstruct justice. Maybe more. We need more, Marcus said. We need proof they're moving drugs. Proof that connects the properties to the trafficking operation. The security footage will have that? If Blake's been having meetings in that back room for months, yeah. It'll have faces, conversations, maybe even product changing hands. Marcus looked at Sarah. You stay in the car with Emma.
No.
Sarah.
I said no. Jerry knows me. If he catches you breaking in, he'll call police. If he catches me, I can talk to him.
You were fired.
Which means I have a reason to be angry. A reason to break in and steal from him.
Sarah's voice was steady.
Let me do this, Marcus. Let me be useful.
Emma stirred in the back seat.
Mama, stay.
Sarah kissed her daughter's forehead.
Rodriguez will stay with you, baby. I'll be right back.
Promise?
I promise.
Marcus and Sarah approached the back entrance. The door was locked, but Sarah pulled out a key. You still have access?
Jerry never asked for it back. Probably forgot I had it.
She unlocked the door, and they slipped inside. The kitchen was exactly as Sarah remembered. Stainless steel counters, industrial stoves, the smell of grease and disappointment.
Server room is through here.
She led him to a basement door. That's when they heard voices. Male. Angry. Coming from Jerry's office. You can't do this, Blake. I've been loyal. I've done everything you asked. You let that waitress and her SEAL boyfriend embarrass my family. You let them film us. You failed to control your employees. Marcus and Sarah froze. I fired her immediately. What else could I do? You could have prevented the situation entirely. That was Victoria's voice. You could have refused to serve us when we saw that disgusting animal tied up outside. You could have told Sarah Chen she wasn't welcome in our town. She's a good worker. She needed the job. She's a liability. And so are you. Blake's voice turned cold. Which is why we're terminating our arrangement. What arrangement? I just rent this building from you. You rent this building. You use our back room for private meetings. You store our merchandise in your walk-in freezer. You launder our money through your restaurant receipts. Blake laughed. Did you really think we'd let you walk away knowing all of that? Marcus grabbed Sarah's arm, pulled her back toward the basement door. Jerry's voice rose. I never asked to be part of your business. You forced me into it. You said if I didn't cooperate, you'd revoke my lease. You'd shut me down. And now we're shutting you down anyway. Permanently. Sarah heard a click. The sound of a gun being cocked. She didn't think. She pushed past Marcus and threw open the office door. Don't! 4 faces turned toward her. Blake, Victoria, Jerry, and a man Sarah didn't recognize, holding a pistol pointed at Jerry's head. Well, Blake's smile was vicious. Look who came back. The waitress with a death wish. Marcus appeared behind Sarah. The stranger with the gun immediately shifted aim toward him. Marcus Rivera. We were hoping you'd show up. Blake gestured to the gunman. This is Victor, head of our security. He's very good at making problems disappear. Like the 11 families who used to live in your properties? Marcus asked. Blake's smile faltered. I don't know what you're talking about. Sure you don't. Just like you don't know about the shipping containers at the dock. The ones full of fentanyl from Mexico. The ones being distributed through your properties. You can't prove any of that. Actually, we can. Rodriguez's voice came from the kitchen. FBI is serving warrants on your properties right now. Your warehouses, your offices, your home. Blake pulled out his phone, dialed, listened. His face went white. That's impossible. Judge Hartley would have warned me. Hartley didn't sign the warrants, Rodriguez said, walking into the office with his own weapon drawn. Federal judge did, based on evidence from Maria Santos. Hospital records showing you covered up 4 family overdoses. Records proving Sarah Chen was scapegoated to protect your nephew. Victoria lunged forward. That's privileged medical information. It's inadmissible. Not when it's part of a conspiracy to obstruct justice. Kate Morrison stepped into the office behind Rodriguez. 3 more FBI agents flanked her. Blake Ashford, Victoria Ashford. You're under arrest for drug trafficking, money laundering, conspiracy, obstruction of justice, and about 15 other charges I'm going to enjoy reading to you. Victor raised his gun toward Kate. Marcus moved faster. He caught Victor's wrist, twisted, and the gun clattered to the floor. Victor threw a punch. Marcus blocked it and drove his elbow into the man's solar plexus. Victor crumpled. Resisting arrest, Kate said cheerfully. Add that to the list. Blake was backing toward the door. This is harassment. My lawyers will have you fired by morning. Your lawyers are currently being questioned about their role in your criminal enterprise. Kate pulled out handcuffs. Turn around. I want to speak to my attorney. You'll get your phone call from jail. Kate grabbed his arm and spun him around. You have the right to remain silent. I suggest you use it. Victoria was crying now, real tears. My daughter, Stephanie, she's sick. She needs me. Your daughter is safe in Seattle, giving a full statement about your family's drug operation. Kate cuffed Victoria too. She's the one who told us about the shipping containers. About how you've been using your hospital connections to steal pharmaceutical-grade narcotics.
about how Cameron's overdose wasn't an accident. You gave him tainted product to test its purity.
Victoria's face crumbled.
She wouldn't. Stephanie would never betray family. She already did. 2 hours ago.
Kate's voice hardened.
You terrorized a 6-year-old autistic child to intimidate her mother. You kidnapped her from school. You sent a video of yourself abusing her. Your daughter saw that video, and it was the final straw. That video was private. It's evidence now of child abuse, kidnapping, assault.
Kate gestured to her agents.
Get them out of here.
The agents led Blake and Victoria away. Their protests echoed through the restaurant. Jerry was shaking.
Am I under arrest too? Kate looked at him. That depends. Are you willing to testify about what you just told the Ashfords? About being forced into their operation?
I'll testify. I'll tell you everything.
Jerry's voice broke.
I never wanted this. They made me. They said they'd destroy me if I didn't cooperate.
Then you're a witness, not a suspect. For now.
Kate turned to Sarah.
You okay?
Sarah nodded. She couldn't speak, couldn't process what had just happened. Marcus put his hand on her shoulder. It's over.
Is it?
Sarah looked at him.
Blake has lawyers, money, connections. What if...
We have evidence, Kate interrupted.
Physical evidence. Testimony from his own daughter. Hospital records. Security footage from this restaurant showing drug deals happening in the back room. Financial records Rodriguez pulled showing money laundering through real estate. We have him cold.
And the custody order? The warrants for Marcus's arrest?
Judge Hartley is in federal custody for his role in the conspiracy. His orders are void. The state warrants are being dismissed.
Kate smiled slightly.
You're free, Sarah. Both of you.
Sarah's legs gave out. Marcus caught her, held her while she sobbed into his chest.
Emma,
she managed to say.
I need to see Emma.
They walked outside together. Rodriguez was standing by the car with Emma in his arms. The little girl was asleep, her head on his shoulder.
She woke up asking for you, Rodriguez said quietly. I told her you were being a hero. She said, Mama always hero, and fell back asleep.
Sarah took her daughter carefully. Emma stirred, but didn't wake.
We can go home, Sarah whispered. We can actually go home.
Marcus's phone rang. The vet. Mr. Rivera, I'm calling about Max. The police came back with a court order to seize him, but then they got another call and left in a hurry.
What's happening?
The people who wanted Max arrested just got arrested themselves. He's safe. Should I keep him overnight for observation?
Yeah, we'll pick him up in the morning.
Marcus paused. Actually, is your office open tomorrow?
I can be there. Why?
Because I want to talk about adoption procedures. Max needs a permanent home. Sarah looked up at him.
Marcus.
Emma needs her dog. You need your dog. And I need to start building something instead of just tearing things down. He met her eyes. If you'll have us.
Have you?
Me and Max. Package deal. He smiled, and it was the first real smile Sarah had seen from him. I'm not going anywhere, Sarah. Not unless you tell me to. Emma woke up then. She looked at Marcus, then at her mother, then back at Marcus.
Max?
Max is fine, sweetheart. We're going to bring him home tomorrow.
Home?
Sarah kissed her daughter's forehead.
Yes, baby. We're going home.
But home wasn't what it used to be. They found out 2 hours later when they tried to return to Sarah's apartment. The building was dark. The front door was broken. Inside, Sarah's apartment had been ransacked, furniture overturned, belongings scattered. A message spray-painted on the wall. Rats get exterminated. "Blake's security did this before they got arrested," Rodriguez said. "Probably on his orders." Sarah stood in the wreckage of her life. Emma's toys were broken. Her clothes were slashed. The few photographs Sarah owned were torn to pieces. "I can't stay here," she said numbly. "I can't bring Emma back to this." "You don't have to." Marcus was already on his phone. "I'm calling my mother's real estate agent. She's been trying to sell my mom's house in Portland for 3 months. It's just sitting empty." "Marcus, I can't afford—" "I'm not asking you to pay. I'm asking you to help me figure out what to do with a 4-bedroom house I don't need." He met her eyes. "My mom would have liked you. She would have loved Emma. And she would have kicked my ass if I let you and your daughter live in a ransacked apartment when I have a perfectly good house sitting empty." "That's too much." "It's not enough. Not after what you've been through." Marcus's voice was gentle. "Let me help, Sarah. Please." Rodriguez cleared his throat. "There's something else you should know. The FBI found more than drugs in the Ashford properties." "What did they find?" Marcus asked. "Women. 12 of them, in a warehouse near the docks." Rodriguez's face was grim. "Trafficking victims, waiting to be shipped overseas. If we'd been a day later..." Sarah felt sick. "They were trafficking people?" "The drugs were just the start. The real money was in human cargo. Women brought in on the same ships that carried the fentanyl, distributed through the same networks." Kate had appeared in the doorway. "We're still identifying the victims. Some have been missing for months. One has been gone for 3 years." "The families who disappeared from the Ashford properties," Marcus said. "Not families. Daughters. Sisters. Women who refused to sell. Women who threatened to report suspicious activity." Kate's voice was hard. "The Ashfords made them disappear. Literally." Sarah thought about how close she'd come to being one of those women, how close Emma had come to growing up without a mother. "What happens to them now? The victims?" "Medical care, counseling, immigration support for the ones who aren't citizens. We have a whole team dedicated to survivor services." Kate looked at Sarah. "Actually, I wanted to talk to you about that." "About what?" "You're a trained nurse. You understand trauma. You've been through hell yourself and survived." Kate pulled out a business card. "We need people like you. People who can talk to survivors, help them navigate the system, make sure they get the care they need." "My license was revoked." "It's being reinstated, as of an hour ago. The Oregon Board of Nursing reviewed Maria's evidence and determined you were wrongfully terminated. Your license is active again." Kate handed her the card. "Think about it. No pressure. But if you're interested in helping people who've been through what you almost went through, we could use you." Sarah looked at the card, at Marcus, at Emma, who was trying to put her broken toys back together. "Can I think about it?" "Take all the time you need." They left Sentinel Bay that night. Sarah, Emma, and Marcus in one car, Rodriguez, Chen, and Williams following in another. A convoy of broken people heading towards something that might be healing. Emma fell asleep again in the back seat. Sarah held her hand and watched the town disappear in the rearview mirror. "Do you think it's really over?" she asked Marcus. "The Ashfords are going to prison for a long time. Their assets are being seized. Their connections are being exposed. Yeah, I think it's over." "Then why don't I feel relieved?" "Because relief takes time. Right now you're still in survival mode, still waiting for the next threat, still expecting something to go wrong." Marcus reached over and took her free hand. "But eventually you'll wake up and realize you're safe, that Emma's safe, that you can build a life without looking over your shoulder.
Have you gotten there yet? After Afghanistan?
Marcus was quiet for a long time. I'm getting there. Slower than I'd like. But being with you and Emma, helping you fight back, it's helped more than 3 months of therapy ever did.
That's not healthy. Using someone else's crisis to avoid dealing with your own.
Probably not. But it got me here. Got me to a place where I can start thinking about the future instead of just surviving the present. He glanced at her. What about you? What do you want your future to look like? Sarah looked at Emma.
I want her to be happy, to have opportunities, to never be afraid the way I've been afraid.
And what about you? What do you want?
I don't know. I've spent so long just trying to survive that I forgot how to want things.
Sarah paused.
But I'm starting to remember.
Yeah?
Yeah.
She squeezed his hand.
I want to be a nurse again. I want to help people. I want Emma to have a real home. I want Max to have a yard to run in.
She took a breath.
And I want to figure out what it means to have someone in my life who actually gives a damn about me.
I give a damn about you.
I know. That's the scary part.
Sarah smiled slightly.
I'm not used to people sticking around.
Get used to it. I'm not going anywhere. They drove through the night toward Portland, toward Marcus's mother's house, toward a future that was terrifying and hopeful in equal measure. Behind them, in Sentinel Bay, the FBI was dismantling the Ashford empire piece by piece, seizing properties, freezing accounts, interviewing victims and witnesses and co-conspirators. Blake and Victoria Ashford spent their first night in jail. No bail, no special treatment. Just 2 people finally facing consequences for decades of cruelty. Judge Hartley resigned in disgrace. Sheriff Morris was arrested for obstruction of justice. The hospital board was dissolved and reformed without Victoria's influence. And in a psychiatric facility in Seattle, Stephanie Ashford slept peacefully for the first time in 18 months, knowing she'd finally done the right thing. The house in Portland was everything Marcus had promised. 4 bedrooms, a yard, space for Emma to run and play, space for Max to recover, space for all of them to breathe. They arrived at dawn. Emma woke up as Marcus pulled into the driveway.
Big house,
she said. Yeah, baby. Big house. Sarah unbuckled her daughter.
Do you want to see inside?
Emma nodded. She took Sarah's hand and Marcus's hand and walked between them toward the front door. Together. The way they'd face everything from now on. Together. Marcus unlocked the door, and Emma ran inside, her footsteps echoing through empty rooms. Sarah followed more slowly, taking in the space. The possibilities. It needs work, Marcus said. Fresh paint, new furniture, but the bones are good.
It's perfect.
Sarah turned to him.
Your mother raised you here?
34 years. She died 3 months ago. Cancer. His voice was rough. I was with her at the end. She made me promise I wouldn't let this house sit empty, that I'd fill it with life again.
And you think Emma and I are that life?
I think you're exactly what she would have wanted. A family, a purpose, a reason to make this house a home instead of just a memorial. Marcus met her eyes. But only if you want it. No pressure, no expectations. Just an offer. Sarah looked around the house. At Emma, who was running from room to room, her laughter echoing. At Marcus, who'd risked everything to save them. At the future, stretching out before them, uncertain, but no longer terrifying.
I want it,
she said.
We want it. If you're sure.
I've never been more sure of anything in my life. Emma appeared in the doorway.
Mama, there's a room with stars on the ceiling. Stars? My mom painted them when I was a kid, glow-in-the-dark stars. I'd forgotten about them.
Marcus smiled. You want that to be your room, Emma? Emma nodded so hard her whole body moved. Then it's yours. They spent the morning exploring the house, finding rooms, making plans, starting to imagine what their lives could look like now that they weren't just running or surviving. At noon, Marcus's phone rang. The vet. Max is ready to go home. They drove to pick him up together, all three of them. When the vet brought Max out, the dog's tail started wagging so hard his whole body shook. Emma ran to him and buried her face in his fur.
Good boy. Good, Max. You're okay now.
The dog licked her face and she giggled. The sound made Sarah start crying all over again. Marcus paid the vet bill, signed adoption papers, made Max officially theirs. On the drive home, Emma sat in the back seat with Max's head in her lap. She stroked his fur and sang to him, off-key, quiet, but singing.
She's never done that before, Sarah whispered to Marcus. She's never comfortable enough to sing.
She feels safe.
Because of you.
Because of all of us. Marcus pulled into the driveway of their new home. We did this together, Sarah. We saved each other. And watching Emma and Max run into the house together, Sarah realized he was right. They had saved each other. Now they just had to figure out how to live with that salvation. How to build lives that weren't defined by trauma or fear or the need to survive. How to be happy. It sounded impossible. But then again, 2 days ago, escaping the Ashfords had seemed impossible too. And they'd done that. Maybe they could do this too. Maybe they could learn to be a family. Maybe they already were. The first week was harder than any of them expected. Emma had nightmares every night. She'd wake up screaming, hitting herself, and it would take both Sarah and Marcus 20 minutes to calm her down. Max stayed by her bed, his nose pressed against her hand, whining when she cried.
I don't know if I can do this,
Sarah admitted on the fourth night. She was exhausted, her arm still in a cast. Emma was finally asleep after an hour of meltdown.
What if I'm not enough? What if she needs more than I can give her?
Marcus was making coffee at 2 a.m. Then we find her more. Better therapists, support groups, whatever she needs.
With what money? I don't have a job yet. I don't have savings. I don't have...
You have me. Marcus poured 2 cups, and I have survivor benefits from the Navy. I have my mom's life insurance. I have enough to get us through until you're ready to work again. I can't let you, Sarah. He set down the coffee. I'm not asking permission. I'm telling you that you're not alone anymore. Emma's not alone. We're a family now, even if we haven't figured out exactly what that means yet. Sarah's phone rang. 3 a.m. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. Then she thought about the trafficking victims, about the women who might need help.
Hello?
Heavy breathing. Then Victoria Ashford's voice.
You destroyed my life.
Sarah's blood went cold.
How are you calling me? You're in jail. I have resources you can't imagine. Money buys everything, even phone privileges.
Victoria's voice was venom.
You took my husband, my freedom. My daughter turned against me because of you. Stephanie turned against you because you're a monster. I'm calling to offer you a deal.
Drop your testimony. Convince Stephanie to recant. Tell the FBI you made everything up.
Why would I do that?
Because if you don't,
I'll make sure Emma ends up exactly like those girls we were trafficking. I have people on the outside, people who owe me, people who will take your daughter and you'll never see her again. Marcus grabbed the phone. This call is being recorded. You just threatened to kidnap a federal witness's child. Enjoy the extra charges, Victoria. Marcus Rivera, the hero, Victoria laughed. Did you know Blake has friends too? Friends in very dark places. Friends who don't forget when someone costs them millions of dollars in lost product. Let them come. Oh, they will. And when they do, I hope you remember that you could have walked away. You could have taken your little family and disappeared. But you chose to be a hero. Heroes die, Marcus. Usually painfully. Usually alone. The line went dead. Sarah was shaking. She can't actually. She's bluffing, but Marcus was already dialing Kate Morrison. Kate, Victoria Ashford just called Sarah from jail, made direct threats against Emma. I need that phone traced and Victoria in solitary. Now. Kate's voice was rough with sleep. How did she get a phone? Money, corruption. Same way the Ashfords have done everything. Marcus paced. Can you protect them? I'll have agents outside the house within the hour, and I'll make sure Victoria doesn't get access to any communication devices, not even her lawyer's phone. Kate paused. Marcus, there's something you should know. Blake's asking for a deal. What kind of deal? He'll give up his cartel contacts, names, locations, distribution networks, in exchange for reduced sentence and protective custody. Absolutely not. It's not up to us. The DA is considering it. The cartel connections Blake has could take down operations in 5 states. And what happens to justice for Sarah? For Emma? For the 12 women he trafficked? Marcus's voice rose. What happens to the families he destroyed? They get some justice. Just not all of it. Kate sounded tired. Blake's looking at 25 years instead of life. Victoria's looking at life without parole. The daughter, Stephanie, is getting immunity for her testimony. Sarah took the phone. What do the victims want? The women who were trafficked. Did anyone ask them? We're interviewing them now. Most are too traumatized to have an opinion. Some want maximum sentences. Some just want it to be over. Kate's voice softened. What do you want, Sarah? Sarah looked at Marcus, at the stairs where Emma was sleeping with Max, at the life they were trying to build from ruins. I want them to never hurt anyone again. If that means Blake testifies against the cartel, fine. As long as he never gets out. As long as Victoria never gets out. As long as they can't touch my daughter. I'll pass that along to the DA. Kate hung up. Marcus pulled Sarah close. I won't let them hurt you. I won't let them hurt Emma. You can't promise that. Yes, I can. Because I've spent 10 years learning how to protect people in impossible situations. And I'm not going to fail you. He kissed her forehead. Get some sleep. I'll stay up. Keep watch. Marcus, you need sleep too. I'll sleep when I know you're safe. Sarah wanted to argue, but she was so tired of being strong, so tired of fighting. She went upstairs, crawled into bed next to Emma. Max lifted his head, checked that she was okay, then went back to sleep. Sarah closed her eyes and dreamed of coffee cups and broken arms, and a man who'd walked into a diner and changed everything. Morning brought news. Kate called at 7. Victoria's in solitary. Blake's deal fell through. The DA rejected it after talking to the victims. Several of them want their day in court, want to testify about what the Ashfords did. When's the trial? Marcus asked. 3 months, maybe 4.
They're adding more charges every day as we interview victims and go through evidence. Kate paused.
Sarah, one of the trafficking victims wants to talk to you specifically. Why me? She says she knows you. Her name is Lisa Chen.
Sarah dropped the phone. Marcus caught it. Sarah, what's wrong?
Lisa Chen is my cousin. She disappeared 2 years ago. We thought she'd run away. She had addiction problems, fights with her family. We looked for her, but...
Sarah's voice broke.
She was in that warehouse? I'll send you the address where she's staying. Victim Services has her in temporary housing.
Kate's voice was gentle.
She asked for you by name, Sarah. Said she saw you on the news. Said she knew you'd find a way to fight back.
Sarah was already grabbing her keys.
I'm going now.
I'll drive, Marcus said. They left Emma with Rodriguez, who'd been sleeping in the guest room since the threats started. Emma didn't protest. She trusted Rodriguez, trusted that her mother would come back. That was progress. Lisa was thinner than Sarah remembered. Her hair was cut short, scars on her arms. But her eyes were the same.
Sarah.
Lisa started crying the moment she saw her.
I thought I'd never see family again.
Sarah held her cousin. This woman she'd given up on. This woman she'd thought was gone forever.
What happened? How did you end up? I was using. Got clean. Couldn't find work because of my record. The Ashfords offered me a job at one of their properties. Said I'd be doing maintenance, cleaning. It seemed legitimate.
Lisa wiped her eyes.
But when I showed up, they locked me in a room. Said I owed them. Said I'd work off my debt. Doing what? Whatever they wanted. Cooking meth, packaging fentanyl.
And when I tried to refuse, when I tried to leave, they said they'd kill my family. Said they knew where my mom lived, where you lived, where your daughter went to daycare. Sarah felt sick.
They knew about Emma 2 years ago?
They know everything about everyone in Sentinel Bay. That's how they control people. That's how they make us disappear. Lisa grabbed Sarah's hands.
I'm sorry I couldn't warn you. I'm sorry I couldn't. You survived. That's what matters.
Sarah pulled her cousin close again.
You're safe now. The Ashfords can't hurt you. Can't they? They have lawyers, money. They always win.
Not this time. Marcus spoke from the doorway. This time, they're going to prison. And you're going to testify to make sure they stay there. Lisa looked at him.
Who are you?
Someone who's very good at making sure bad people face consequences. Marcus came into the room. Sarah told me you were a chemist before the addiction.
I had 2 years of college
before I dropped out. The FBI needs someone who understands the chemistry of what the Ashfords were doing. Someone who can explain to a jury how the drugs were manufactured, how they were distributed, how they killed people. Marcus crouched down to Lisa's level. You could help put them away forever.
I'm a junkie. A criminal. Nobody's going to believe me.
You're a survivor. A victim. And you're the only person who can explain the technical details of their operation. Marcus's voice was gentle. But only if you're willing. Nobody's going to force you. Lisa looked at Sarah.
If I testify, will you be there? In the courtroom?
Every single day.
Then I'll do it.
The next 3 months were a blur. Sarah started working part-time for the FBI's Victim Services Program, helping the women who'd been trafficked, connecting them with resources, being the person she'd needed when her life fell apart. Emma started therapy with a specialist in trauma and autism. The first session was a disaster. Emma screamed for 40 minutes, threw toys, bit herself. The second session was slightly better. She lasted an hour before melting down.
By the 10th session, she was communicating with picture cards, pointing to feelings, starting to process what had happened to her. She's making progress, the therapist told Sarah. Slow progress, but real. The fact that she feels safe enough to express her trauma is huge. When will she talk again? Full sentences? When she's ready. Maybe weeks, maybe months, maybe years, the therapist smiled. But she's talking in her own way, and that's what matters. Marcus struggled too. He had nightmares about Afghanistan, about Apollo, about the moment he'd walked into Ashford Development and found Emma terrorized. Some nights he woke up swinging. Sarah learned to talk to him from across the room until he oriented himself, until he remembered he was safe. "I'm broken," he said one night. "I thought saving you would fix me. But I'm still broken. We're all broken," Sarah said. "But maybe broken people can build something beautiful together. Maybe that's the point." "What point?" "That we don't have to be perfect. We just have to be here. For each other." Marcus kissed her then. Really kissed her. For the first time since the diner. "I love you," he said. "I know it's fast. I know it's crazy. But I love you and Emma and this strange family we've accidentally built. I love you too." Sarah pulled him closer. "And it's not crazy. It's the sanest thing I've ever done." The trial started on a Tuesday. Sarah wore her best dress. Marcus wore his dress blues. Emma stayed home with Rodriguez and Max. The courtroom was packed. Victims, press, FBI agents, the families of people the Ashfords had destroyed. Blake and Victoria sat at separate defense tables. Blake looked thinner, older. Victoria looked furious. The prosecutor was a woman named Jennifer Walsh, 45, sharp, ruthless. The evidence will show that Blake and Victoria Ashford ran a criminal enterprise that destroyed lives, trafficked women, and poisoned communities with deadly drugs. The evidence will show they used their money and influence to cover up crimes ranging from assault to murder. The evidence will show they deserve to spend the rest of their lives in prison. Blake's lawyer stood up. The evidence will show my client was a successful businessman who made mistakes, who trusted the wrong people, who never intended for anyone to get hurt. The first witness was Stephanie Ashford. She walked to the stand looking nothing like Victoria. Her hair was simple, her clothes plain, her face free of the arrogance Sarah remembered. "State your name for the record." "Stephanie Marie Ashford." "And your relationship to the defendants?" "Victoria Ashford is my mother. Blake Ashford is my stepfather." "Can you tell the jury about your family's business?" Stephanie took a breath. "My family has been trafficking drugs and people for 15 years. I've known about it since I was 16. I helped them. I'm not proud of it, but I helped them." The courtroom exploded. The judge called for order. Stephanie continued. "My mother got me addicted to painkillers when I was 14. Said it would help with my anxiety. By 16, I was using fentanyl. She supplied it, made sure I had access, made sure I was dependent." "Why would she do that?" "Control. As long as I needed drugs, I needed her. As long as I needed her, I wouldn't tell anyone what our family was doing." Stephanie's voice cracked. "She did the same thing to my cousin Cameron, to my uncle Robert, to anyone in the family who might have a conscience." "What changed? Why are you testifying now?" "Because I saw what they did to Emma Chen, that little girl. They terrorized her to intimidate her mother, and I realized I was watching my mother become exactly what her mother had been, exactly what had destroyed our family for generations." Stephanie looked directly at Victoria. "I'm testifying because someone has to break the cycle. even if it destroys me too.
Victoria was screaming now. Her lawyer was trying to calm her. The judge was threatening contempt. Sarah watched it all and felt something she hadn't felt in years. Hope. The trial lasted 6 weeks, 63 witnesses, hundreds of pieces of evidence, hours of testimony from victims who'd been silenced for years. Lisa Chen testified about the drug operation, about being forced to cook meth, about watching the Ashfords kill a man who tried to escape. Maria Santos testified about the hospital cover-ups, about Cameron's death, about the systematic destruction of Sarah's career. Jerry testified about being forced to let the Ashfords use his restaurant, about the meetings he'd witnessed, about the deals made in his back room. And Sarah testified about the diner, about Blake breaking her arm, about Victoria kidnapping Emma, about the terror of thinking she'd lost her daughter forever.
How did it feel when Mr. Rivera helped you? The prosecutor asked. Like someone finally saw me. Like I mattered. Like maybe the world wasn't entirely full of people who look away from suffering.
Sarah's voice was strong.
Marcus saved my life. Not just physically. He reminded me that fighting back was possible, that people with power can lose, that justice exists if you're brave enough to demand it.
The defense tried to discredit her, brought up her lost nursing license, her poverty, her desperation. Isn't it true that you seduced Mr. Rivera into helping you? That you used your daughter to manipulate him? Sarah looked the lawyer dead in the eye.
I didn't seduce anyone. I was bleeding on the ground with a broken arm while your client laughed. Marcus helped me because he's a decent human being, because he saw someone being hurt and decided to do something about it.
Maybe you should try it sometime. The courtroom applauded. The judge didn't stop them. The verdict came on a Friday. Blake Ashford, guilty on all 47 counts. Victoria Ashford, guilty on all 52 counts. Sentencing was immediate. Blake, 45 years federal prison, no parole. Victoria, life without parole. Sarah collapsed in the hallway outside the courtroom, not from grief, from relief so intense it felt like dying. Marcus held her while she sobbed.
It's over. It's really over.
Not yet. Kate appeared with paperwork.
Civil suit. The trafficking victims are suing the Ashford estate for damages. Every property, every bank account, every asset. It's all going to be liquidated and distributed to the people they hurt.
How much are we talking?
40 million, maybe more.
Kate looked at Sarah.
You're entitled to a portion, for what they did to you and Emma. I don't want their money. Take it anyway. Use it to help other people. Start a foundation.
Find therapy for trauma survivors. Turn their evil into something good. Sarah looked at Marcus.
A foundation?
Apollo's Legacy, he said immediately. Name it after my dog. Help victims of trafficking and violence. Provide therapy, legal support, safe housing. Everything we wish we'd had.
We did have it. We had each other.
Not everyone does, but they should. Marcus pulled her close. Let's give them what we found. Hope. Help. A reason to keep fighting. 6 months later, they stood in front of a small building in downtown Portland. The sign read, Apollo's Legacy, Support for Survivors. Emma cut the ribbon. She was talking now. Short sentences, simple words, but talking.
I help people, she said proudly, like Daddy and Mama.
Max sat beside her, tail wagging. He'd been certified as a therapy dog. He spent his days visiting survivors, letting them pet him, reminding them that not all beings were cruel. Inside, Lisa worked as the director of their job training program, teaching survivors chemistry, computer skills, helping them rebuild their lives. Maria Santos ran their medical clinic, providing free healthcare to people who couldn't afford it. Stephanie Ashford volunteered in their addiction recovery program. She'd been sober for 8 months. She was trying to make amends for the years she'd spent helping her family hurt people.
Do you think it's enough?
Sarah asked Marcus that night. They were home. Emma was asleep upstairs. Max was snoring on the couch. Enough for what?
To make up for what the Ashfords did. To balance the scales.
Nothing can make up for what they did. Nothing can bring back the people they killed, or fix the lives they destroyed. Marcus took her hand. But we can make sure their legacy isn't just pain. We can make sure something good came from the fight. Sarah kissed him. When did you get so wise? When a waitress and her dog taught me that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is ask for help. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is refuse to give up. Sometimes the most important thing you can do is see someone else's pain and decide it matters. Is that what you did? Decided I mattered? I decided you were worth fighting for. Both of you. And I was right. He pulled her closer. Best decision I ever made. They got married in the spring. Small ceremony, just family and the friends who'd helped them survive. Rodriguez was Marcus's best man. Lisa was Sarah's maid of honor. Emma was the flower girl. Max was the ring bearer. Kate Morrison officiated. I've seen a lot of cases in my career, a lot of victims, a lot of survivors. But I've never seen two people turn their trauma into such powerful purpose. Marcus and Sarah didn't just survive what the Ashfords did to them. They transformed it. They built something beautiful from the ashes, and they remind us all that justice isn't just about punishment. It's about restoration. It's about healing. It's about making sure the next person who gets hurt has somewhere to turn, someone who will see them, someone who will fight for them, someone who will refuse to look away. Sarah looked at Marcus as they exchanged bows. This man who'd walked into a diner and saved her life, who'd kept saving it every day since. I promise to see you, she said, even when you don't want to be seen. I promise to fight for you, even when you think you're not worth fighting for. I promise to build a life with you that honors everyone we couldn't save. And I promise to never forget that we're both still here for a reason, to help, to heal, to make sure no one else has to face their monsters alone. Marcus's voice was rough with emotion. I promise to protect you. Not because you need protecting, but because you deserve someone in your corner. I promise to love Emma like my own. I promise to honor Apollo and the team I lost by living a life that would make them proud. And I promise to spend every day proving that walking into that diner was the moment my life truly began. They kissed as husband and wife. Emma cheered. Max barked. And somewhere, Blake and Victoria Ashford sat in prison cells, their empire destroyed, their names synonymous with cruelty and corruption. But Sarah Chen Rivera didn't think about them anymore. She thought about the 12 women they'd saved from trafficking who now had jobs and futures. She thought about Lisa, sober and thriving, running programs that gave other addicts hope. She thought about Emma, talking more every day, laughing more every day, learning that the world could be safe. She thought about Marcus, healing from his own wounds, finding purpose in protecting others the way he couldn't protect his team. And she thought about the hundreds of people who'd walked through Apollo's Legacy's doors over the past year. People who'd been hurt, broken, abandoned. People who needed someone to see them, just like she'd needed someone to see her. just like Marcus had seen her. The Ashfords had tried to make her invisible, tried to erase her, tried to convince her she was worthless. They'd failed, because Sarah Chen Rivera was living proof that one person standing up could change everything. That money didn't always win, that power could be challenged, that justice was possible if you were brave enough to demand it. She was living proof that broken things could be rebuilt stronger than before, that love could grow in the worst circumstances, that family wasn't just blood, it was the people who refused to let you fall. And she was living proof that sometimes the best thing that could happen to you was someone walking into your life at exactly the moment you needed them most. Even if they were just stopping for coffee. Even if they were broken too. Even if the odds seemed impossible. Because heroes don't need capes or superpowers or perfect lives. They just need to see someone suffering and decide that silence isn't an option. They just need to stand up when everyone else sits down. They just need to refuse to walk away. Marcus had done that for her, and together, they were doing it for everyone who came after. That was justice. That was healing. That was love. And that was enough.